Yo, 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 and welcome to another episode of Roy's Podcast. I'm Roy Spencer.
And I'm Johnny Rodriguez, and this is Roy's podcast. So, Roy, we got a lot to talk about.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
last episode with Chantel was amazing, but now it's back to the market talk. I want to get I think our whole audience wants to get your input on, what to do with money in an uncertain time in the market.
Oh, yeah. And that's what we've been seeing a lot of recently with just like, I'm going to take a quick dive right in and just show you guys what we've been seeing in the market. I mean, if you've been in the market, I'm sure this is not going to be news to you, but, looking at the market in general, we have lots of shocking details going on into the year. It's February
16.
16th, and year-to-date performance in the around the world from some of the bigger names. We've got Microsoft down nearly 11%. We've got Google down nearly 5%. We've got Facebook getting smashed. We didn't really like them anyway, so who cares? We got Amazon down 5%. Tesla down nearly 13%. So like what are people doing here? We even have Apple down, and that's like a steady performer usually. So what's in the green? We have these credit cards. Yeah, people are continuing to spend. Okay, so we know the consumer is strong. We have banks doing well, inflation, but you know, how long will that last? We also have the oil and gas industry doing amazing. We have ExxonMobil, we have Chevron. Um, we have these other names over here, ConocoPhillips, all touching in on the oil and gas, and that's been on an extended run. It's been cold. We've also had conflicts going on in Ukraine and Russia. Those are still up in the air, very, very new. So we have a lot of market uncertainty. And looking at something more in general, um, something that we can use to gauge the market and its overall
Baby
is
bricks.
we've got uh, sh-
And this is the
okay.
FinViz, people, for those of
Yes,
you
this
watching.
this is FinViz, which is my favorite resource. I talked a lot about it on here. But the SPY as an ETF is a representation of the tradable S&P 500 in the market, trading it. So what we saw, going into like last year, June, July, we had that time, and then we had the market crash. Mike Wilson, we've seen that story before. The historic rise in the few days after that. Then we got to 2022, and I told you guys I was going to ride that through. Got out of the TQQQ at the end of the year, and then shit's really hit the fan to start this year off. Starting off the year with a bang, meaning in January things sold off like crazy. Kind of rebounded back still, and now the market, it really has no clue where it is. It's up, down, sideways, upside down. It's everything right now. It's just uncertain, and this is what we want to focus on today is when are we trading? Why are we in the market? And what are we doing in the market when things are just going sideways? Now, the market is not in its uptrend anymore. And what I mean by that is this is an uptrend. It is continuously going up, very little downside. It's not really breaking its trend to the downside. We're continuing to ride that. That happened over a course of 6 or 7 months. That was great. And now it needs, with like all this like uncertainty going around wars in Russia and Ukraine, we got the Fed. We have a lot of things that like people are very unsure about right now, especially, and we still have COVID worries. We got trucker shortages. We have people in Canada just parking their trucks on bridges, leaving them there, fighting against their own government. We got a lot of craziness happening in this world right now. So the markets are confused, and it's probably going to be that way for a few more months, and until we get some like certainty around what the Fed will do. And they're expecting the Fed to put its first rate hike out in March. That will probably give way to like some more certainty going forward past that. And now where people may say that interest rates, that's going to be bad for the market and drive everything down. I think with like this being seen before, markets actually perform quite well after like the certainty of what rate hikes are actually coming have hit the market, and people know of that for sure. And then after that, like things get back to more of a normal trading, not as big of pops, but we'll see the market get back to more of a stable increase. But until that time, we can't relatively say that like being in the market all in is going to be appropriate. So what do we do? Well, we have to resort to names that fit into methods of being sound in almost every way. So something that I like to refer during this time where things are very uncertain is a thing called the can slim method. So what we're looking for is we're looking for things with good recent earnings. Their earnings are continuing to increase over time. They're seeing new highs, and they're coming out with new products. And then the slim part, we see supply and demand. They're actually in demand, and their demand is going to increase going forward. They're part of the market leading up. They're institutionally owned. And then the biggest part is M, which is the market trend. What is that market doing? You know, we can look at it by sector. Now, when we went back to start it off, in like the S&P 500, we had this show right here of oil and gas. They're a market leader this year. And so is these financials, except for PayPal and banks for the most part. But, you know, how long are these going to last? But until that time, like, these have been the market leaders. But, you know, are they necessarily as stable companies and stay around forever? Not really. What we're looking at now is we're looking for names that fit certain categories and are fundamentally sound. Now, to dive in on a little bit of those names, I'll shift you over to a couple of the names that we've been looking at. Carbon, we'll touch on that in a little bit. I talked to you guys about Carbon before. I still am a big fan, but one of them that we've been really rocking on hard lately is the supply side people of stuff that's in demand. Now, this is a great play. We already know that materials now are very much in demand, and they will be going forward. As we have this more of like a push of like the United States kind of turning inwards, and also countries turning inwards because of like uncertainty around the world. You know, these people that are harvesting resources, especially stuff that can be a curb and like hold value when like the currency values in the world fluctuate. Something like gold, which this company mines, these are going to be people that are going to be in demand. You know, people right now, they don't really know with like the stocks, as we saw at the beginning. Those have been having a rough ride this year. We have cryptos, always on a wild ride, kind of taking a hard hit on the nose to start this year as well. So people are turning back towards old traditional methods of reliability. And so in this, you know, we see it sort of develop almost as an inverse of what we saw with the SPY, which was a representation of the market, which was increasing until the top of 2022. And just as the new year came around, it fell off. Now we see this starting to pick up. And so, you know, as long as the market's uncertain and we have this like concern going forward until like the market stabilizes back out, we could see stuff like miners and suppliers, especially of key elements like gold, continue to do well throughout the year.
And so with the company in South Africa that is mining gold,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Mm-hmm.
legitimately mining gold, not
Yeah.
not like mining Bitcoin or something like that. They're mining gold.
Mm-hmm. And the best thing about this is it meets a critical like fact within the industry of like basic metals and being something that is like important in the industry. But also look at this, like this is also important as well. Good PE ratio, good forward PE ratio, good PEG, good. This is very good price of sales. Price to book. Okay, so what all this means, price to book. What is the price of this company right now worth if it were to just go bankrupt tomorrow? How much would everybody get? And it's only trading at 2 times what all of its like, you know, worth is in the company. Like there's a lot of like the high flyer names that we were looking at before, 10s, 20s, 100s, like those aren't sustainable. These are sustainable numbers. These are good fundamental numbers. And you can see that as represented by green. You want to see green numbers when you're looking at FinFiz and you look into an individual company. And like these black numbers, these are very good as well. Like for price to sales, price of book, they're just sticklers about what they actually define as good.
Mm.
So these are good, and it's got a target price of 19.8. It's sitting at 16. I'm sure as the year goes on, and or if it continues to be uncertain, for at least the next few months, we could see this potentially getting by that price. And this is just like a trade idea that I've had through what we've been seeing going on. Um, it's kind of been tying in with this ETF, which is the directional two times of that itself, which is a direction daily gold miners. So this is basically that, but at like a two times multiplier. And it's an ETF which kind of has a basket of all these gold miners around the world. So we've been seeing them kind of recently since like the beginning of 2022 starting to pick up steam, whereas last year they sold off, and it's just like the market for these are hot, and it makes sense because people uncertain about where things sit right now.
Right.
So good name to rock with.
So you would, if you obviously, this is all speculation. We're not financial advisors,
Mm-hmm.
but personally, are you going to be purchasing some of this?
Okay, so I purchased a good amount of it in February, and like I have been accumulating it. Now, what we've been talking about since like the beginning of the year is that this is not the old school days of the TQQQ or the TQ cubed. If you guys have watched the show ever, you've heard me say those words. I kid you not. And what we're seeing here is these are not the days where we're all in on anything, and we're not picking up big moves and just riding them anymore. The market, I kid you not when I say this, is uncertain. Like that's big. Like the biggest thing deriving of what you should be doing is what way the market's moving. When the market's uncertain or going down, it's a good time to not be in the market unless you like losing money. And so we're going to try to avoid that and take through strategies on this uncertainty. Now,
Right.
if the market hits a bullish period, I mean, and they find that the Fed rates are a little less than expected, or because people have all this anticipation. We could see these names that I'm talking about here, Nugget and also SBSW, go back down. This is just like an uncertainty play, but like that's good because I think there's a lot of things to be uncertain about, at least till like the Fed talks in March, or past that, and when people feel that they have a comfortable understanding of the current environment of trading.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're staying with names like that. I think also another one that I'd kind of found for
How did you find, if I may ask, how did you find this? You know.
so I look for things that people are recommending that are good buys, and then I'll dive in and I'll look at the fundamentals. And also, these are names. Another one that I kind of want to show you guys ties in with that as well. But these are names outside the United States. Now, the United States investments are great. They
Mm-hmm.
certainly are, and you know, we have just amazing country, and
The
this will
boys.
continue to go back up, like in the future. But right now, it's kind of in a period of just like exhaustion. Like
Right.
we put the pedal to the metal last year and rode that to like the top, and now with all this uncertainty, things are kind of selling off and looking. But like markets don't just stay there. Money doesn't give up. Like it's always looking for the next opportunity, especially with big money. So
Mm-hmm.
things that are getting these inflows right now, especially with bigger inflows, is definitely stuff to like keep on the radar and like watch through, because like big money is going to determine where the market's moving anyways. And so and what we're seeing out of the big money is a lot of it's just taking like kind of like cash positions, because they're uncertain, and so like the market's uncertain. Whatever the big money is doing is what the market's doing, and when they're uncertain, market's uncertain. So you gotta ride out with what they're doing. We're just small fish in a big pond here, guys.
We're just little guppies. That's all we are.
Yes. So another name that I want to kind of talk to you guys about as well is this another name from abroad, which is Zim, which is Zim Integrated Shipping Services. Now, as we see, they're a marine shipping company out of Israel. Now, they don't have the same story of like this deflation uncertainty play. They're just overall shipping, um, demand. Demand is high, and that's where we start on this. Is demand's high? Like people are increasingly wanting goods, and they're wanting their stuff delivered faster, especially through like regulations and stuff like that. And this company as well, once we dive in, we see good PE, good forward PE. Their forward PE is better than their current PE, meaning their growth projected forward is supposed to go well, even greater than like their price increases. We see price to sales. This is very good, 1.3. They're just kind of messing around with you, or they're not messing around with you, but like they're just sticklers for they're sticklers for like the results here. So they're not giving it a green, but like this is very good. We got price to book, which is 2.65. We talked about the last one, which was around 2.4. That's still very good. We got price to cash. They've got cash on hand to pay for stuff, and then I mean, they've got some debt, which is indicated here, but I wouldn't say that's the end of the world when they have like such a good amount of inflows. They've got their sales booming. They've got their earnings per share booming. It's something that's in demand. Like this is how we're breaking things down. It's in demand. It's increasing. It's got good, solid fundamentals, and they're getting money. And they're also their earnings are continuing to do better and better. So like, that's the magic recipe. The price will catch up eventually once people realize. Like this is like fundamental stuff. And I'm not saying that nobody's realized. Obviously, since like August until like the time that it is now, the price has nearly doubled since August. Which is great, but like I don't see this demand going anywhere. Like people aren't gonna just be like, oh well, I don't really need to eat as much as I did yesterday, unless like some fundamental like greater world crisis goes through and we have like a famine. And even then, like that would just cause like supply side problems, and people would still probably want to eat a million bananas. If like one guy's ate a million bananas, he'd probably still want to eat a million bananas tomorrow.
Right.
These are all random kind of side stories on like analogies on like what might happen, but like people, mostly like what we're seeing with like spending, like we saw that the companies that are doing well spending wise, like Visa, MasterCard, stuff like that, those are stocks that are continuing to go up, especially American Express. And we see the consumer being strong and resilient, and the demand's not going anywhere. So these companies are going to see good growth. They got good underlying fundamentals in book, and there's something that we can ride out, as well as like and these are just things like like DCA into, start a position, DCA into, and have a plan for the rest of the year.
What does that mean?
But, dollar cost average in, so we're not just putting one lump sum of a payment in. So if we have like $1,000 to invest, we're not just like, all right, tomorrow $1,000 go on this bad boy. It's like, all right, maybe 100 each month. I don't know. You choose like your time horizon. Or like it's like, all right, 50 each month. Gotcha. And then, sense. Because like we know that this is like a good stock, it's impossible to like really like be timing its up and downs. I mean, as of like right now, but we're gonna continue on it. And really, this segment has been like about like there's probably plenty of more like companies be checking out, but like this is like the thought process, and I want to see you guys as investors making great trades. Let us know what you're trading as well, because like I want to hear about it. I want to hear how you arrived to that conclusion as well. Why do I want to trade that in this volatile market?
Right. Yeah, and you can do that, and have direct communication with us by joining our Discord as well. We're always talking, people are informing us, we're informing them. It's a very proactive Discord.
And we touch on many different things. We touch on stocks, cryptos, NFTs. We talk about just news. Like we'll have people just interacting on just anything. General questions, if you just want to talk to us about anything, who knows. But we're here to talk to you guys. And with that being said, we talked about like cryptos and NFTs. Johnny, what do you say that you have to like say
So
about what's going on in that
there's
space.
there's definitely a lot going on in the space. But before we leave this topic altogether, I do want to know because EVs like Toyota, I've been hearing some little banter around the locker room about that. Is there anything big going on with that?
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of mentioned into that. So Toyota itself, another great company that meets into like what we're talking about with like solid fundamentals, and also they really haven't done too much with EVs yet. So Toyota's market with like the EV space is still relatively undetermined. So the minute that kind of like shapes out, I know that like over the past like years and years, there's a reason they've been around for so long. Now that's more of a stable name that might not get you that home run swing, but
Hmm.
from like like 2 years out, they've relatively doubled in 2 years. So like it depends on what your home run swing is like defined as, and like the more so they like define themselves in the EV market, the better that trade's gonna look. But right now, good fundamentals, good potential for the future, and if they develop into that space nicely, we could see good demand and good market going future
So
on that. So I'm glad you mentioned that because that's also another good name that we could potentially be DCAing into.
so is there? I know Joe Biden mentioned in terms of electronic vehicle companies in the U.S. that are
Mm-hmm.
like the top dogs. He left out Tesla, but then a few weeks later he mentioned Tesla because he was probably getting so much pushback from people because Tesla's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And, what do you think is reason? Like, do you think he just forgot or,
Yeah, I think he just forgot.
yeah,
Honestly, he must have forgot because the government has made Tesla what it is. If y'all don't know about that, check out all of its subsidiaries they got from all these places. Yeah, the government grew Tesla and they needed to because they needed to be competitive worldwide. And that's a big thing going forward. Our competitiveness as a nation, you know, going forward and like how it competes with like other nations. Other nations are also taking the same steps and like ramping up what they have a competitive edge over in, and they should going forward to like make sure they secure that industry. And it's great that the United States has that kind of edge with Tesla because it's so developed right now, and it has like potential for like even greater things going forward. I remember looking at a while back, Elon Musk like planned for like autonomous workers. You just have somebody in like a plant that does like all the work, and it's a human or somebody that
oh
drives
wow,
like a truck. Like you know, like all these jobs like in the future, like they have a self-driving truck, and then they could have the self-driving like autonomous human to do like the unpacking. Like this is
wow,
like the world of like you know potential going forward. If it's not like a matter of if, it's kind of like when, and it's
hmm
like when there's like a big enough push demand for it that like this either becomes like feasible for most companies to do because that's going to be a hardcore investment. It's just get a bunch of autonomous vehicles, or like there's just such a demand for it that like we move into that space. But
right.
like the idea is there, especially from Tesla.
Yeah, with Tesla, I mean, I feel like they're on top of the ball with like so much stuff. And including the thing that a lot of people have heard about. If you've watched Joe Rogan, there's no way you haven't heard about it. Or honestly, if you are just not living under a rock, you have probably heard about Neuralink. Or do you know if there's any like plans going forward with Neuralink to start being like, available on the market or
Right, I think that's along the same lines as well. It's just like whenever the demand is there, whenever people
gotcha.
want to start moving forward. But I heard of an interesting thing that I didn't really think about like in the past on why where that might become big is like people that are like paralyzed or like have trouble like thinking because of like accidents or something like that could be something that they might be opted into,
Right.
because like they just want to get back to like regular life, even if there's like potential security concerns. It's either like potential security concerns or you like
Yeah.
potentially like let's say you get in a car accident, you like mess up, you like crash and get like a heavy concussion or I don't really
Mhm.
know the situations with all those like
They're messed up.
yeah, and you need like without that like thinking would be like very hard to come by. So like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
might be an option. You start with like people that are disabled in like such a way, or have been handicapped. Like whenever that becomes feasible, we'll see like first adopters and stuff along those lines. I'm sure it's coming. We'll have to like wait and see what like the market is, but lots of potential out there. Lots
Yeah,
of plans for like good innovation from a lot of companies going forward as well as we get into like this hyper digital age.
right. And speaking, this hyper digital age, let's hop on over into the crypto and NFT space.
Heck yeah, Johnny. So what do you got for us over in that space?
So lately, you know, cryptos, it's anyone, if you hear anyone say, or if you hear me or Roy or anyone say, this will be at this price by this time, they're lying. All right. They don't know. No one knows. It's a volatile market, and that's just how it is right now. So the best uh, advice I would give would be to always do your own research and continue and use a lot of different sources so you can get kind of like a general con- you know consumption of all these different resources and news things and whatnot that you can kind of compile your own data so that you can make your own decision about it.
Mhm.
And a good example of that is the Paul Barron Network. He's phenomenal. He's very objective with what he talks about in the crypto market. It's like there are some people on YouTube that you will see that have stake in the game. So they'll be promoting, they'll be saying stuff like, the metaverse cryptos are going to be going off, these upcoming months. But the thing is, they might have a project that is within that industry. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt.
Mhm.
And but yeah, so that's Paul Barron is great. If anyone's wondering, check him out. And but lately, what I've been into, so when the cryptos are down, the NFT market seems to be going up, right?
Mhm.
And so lately, I've been really into just NFTs, and both Solana and Ethereum. But lately, I've been more so like flipping Ethereum NFTs, and there are some great resources. So this is very hard. It's very hard to do if you don't know, if you don't really know what you're doing and you don't have the right resources to do so. So I would not suggest for anyone to do this. This is something that takes time, and maybe look at the resources. You know, make a mental note or write it down, like, if you would have bought it, and then, like, see, like, a week later if you would have profited. Because there are different, times when to buy them, when to sell them. Just because a project is doing super well, it does not mean you should be buying into it, because odds are it will go down, it will dip. And so those dips are what you wanna look for. And a good resource to use to find that would be this resource called Moby. Now, Moby.gg, I'm going to share it with you guys right now, is a phenomenal resource to see what is trending within the NFT marketplace. So, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you can pay for the pro version. It's not very much, and I would assume it's worth it. I mean, I don't pay for it, but I just use the free version, and it's helped me immensely. We're looking at live feeds here, so as you can see, um, let's just look. Toad Punks, look, number of sales decreased to 129 in the last 24 hours. It's down 29.9%. Okay, so that might maybe look into that. You can use LooksRare or OpenSea to check, you know, how they're doing. And so LooksRare is it's like OpenSea. It's better in a certain aspects because what it does is it will show you the lowest floor price, and you can actually purchase. So you can press like if I were to connect my wallet, there would be an option for me to buy like floor price, and then so anything that is super cheap, um, and it will randomly buy me the one that I want for that price. If it's a collection that is for around 0.09, these two right here, 0.09, if I set it to buy the lowest price possible, it would buy me one of those because as you can see, these other ones are not that cheap. Now, you can look at activity and you can see the current, buys and sales like this. So 0.25 Ethereum is 177% above the floor. So this person is selling that for that much above the floor price. But who knows how much they got it for? So we can check by going to activity. And okay, see, it looks like they minted it. Now I am guessing that the mint, well, I would be pretty positive that the mint for this was way cheaper than what they're selling it for. And you can always check by going to activity, and whatnot, and just doing that. And you can also buy bundle packs on this, which is really cool. And you earn rewards. You earn the looks token um, when you make a transaction, whether you're buying or selling on this website. So this is a great marketplace in general, and they'll show you. Here's a bunch of NFTs that are out. But going back to Moby, this is where I found this thing called Cosmic Cats. Now, Cosmic Cats, as you can see, it's down in terms of sales within the last, to 95. So there's only been 95 sales uh, within the last hour. Now, the cool thing about this collection that I bought into is that they haven't even been revealed yet. So this is a great opportunity. What you guys are looking at is a great opportunity to buy in to an NFT project. Always look at the activity, see how it's doing. Okay, so that's when it launched, um, and it was at 0.0755, went up to 0.1276, and now it's sitting at 0.1754. And now, if you're in the discords, always be in the discords if you're gonna think about if you're gonna buy into one of these projects. Oh, here's one of those bundle packs I was talking about. So you're saving gas. So people will do things where, they'll make a bundle pack. They'll have two cosmic cats, but they're selling them together. So this way you can save on the gas fee, versus if I were to buy this one and then buy this one, because then I'd be paying double the gas, which is just something cool. And so that comes from LooksRare. But back to it. So Cosmic Cats, the reveal, this is kind of like in the lifetime or in the launch phase of a NFT. The reveal phase is so important because if the project is doing very well, which this one is doing pretty well, as you can see, in this phase, then that's a good sign because that means that people are willing to buy these because they believe in the project, they believe in the team, they believe in the overall NFT itself. To risk, maybe getting one of these and it not being very rare, which is very possible. It's extremely possible. But so you can flip these NFTs. So if I get maybe one for 0.19 and the expected floor price of this is going to be point 0.3, then buying it for 0.19 is a good option. So like for example, I had bought in one of these at point zero 0.09 and then I flipped it for 0.12, I believe. Now, then I bought one because I actually wanted one of them. I bought one for point 0.1. So I still profited, but um, it's not like by an insane amount or anything. But at least I have one. Now, something cool if you're trying to create a brand for yourself on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, with your NFTs, if you're a collector or whatnot, is that within these discords, there will always be a little channel that says, cats follow cats. And so there you would go and you would paste your Twitter link, and, a bunch of people from that are holders of this collection will follow you on Twitter, which is cool because that gives you more validity as a collector, a trader, whatnot. And so this is just one example of a collection that I recently, bought into. Now, I'm gonna go to some of my other NFTs.
Wow.
These are just a
This
few.
has been like very insightful because kind of like I've always wondered like what like the secrets are to like NFT like, getting in, but like I see people making a lot of money about it.
Mhm.
I just think like my key takeaway notes on that are kind of like, to make the people that make the most money are the ones that mint it or the ones that use that tool that you were talking about. Find it for cheap, find a good project that's going cheap, and then turn around and get in on that for low and flip it.
Exactly.
And
And
it and like the other one, like I know now just from like the Discord and the resources in there, and that not every NFT person that gets an NFT makes money, and it's because they're doing it all wrong. They're getting in there, not really knowing what it is. They just see price going up. They're like, oh, okay, and then they get it, and then it goes down, and they get discouraged, and
and I
take the
sell it.
loss. Yeah, and that's exactly opposite way of how you want to approach this. So I'm so thankful that you broke it down like that, man.
Of course. And that's the number one mistake that an NFT when people get into NFTs they'll make is like buying it when it's on the rise because it's just like you're going to be extremely discouraged because you don't know how long. I mean, you could look and see how long it's been going up for, but have patience. Patience is a virtue in this game. Now, so going back to Cosmic Cats, I mean, look, I said I bought it for look, I already have an offer for above what I bought it for, right? So that's pretty cool. And I'm not going to accept that because don't want to because I like Cosmic Cats and I think they're very promising. And based off of the community and everything and the partnerships that they have coming up, uh, I just I have a I like the project, so I'm gonna hold it, right?
Mm.
And then also something to look for with these, especially if it's a derivative project, is will there be let's use the biggest, the most known example of all, Board Ape Yacht Club. They have Mutant Apes, right? They have the board Mutant Ape or just Mutant Ape Yacht Club. And so with derivative projects that use the ape, not even necessarily they don't have to use the ape, but it tends to be like this. If they are using that kind of like style, like this, for example, Society of Derivative Apes, this is going to be able to mutate by drinking, a soda, like one of these things. And this happens on the 22nd. So on the 22nd, I will be able to take that one, uh, so like this NFT right here, and I will be able to have him drink either this or this. Based off of whichever one I choose, will mutate him into a mutant ape. And we don't know what he's gonna look like, but I think it's gonna be cool. Now so this is the coolest one. This is a Rainbow Blast soda, and, it's like, right there, it's $203 for one of these. That's a lot. So, it's obviously the best one, because it's gonna probably make it look the coolest. But the sodas that I just showed you that I have that are blue and purple, those are like 2 to $5. So, I'm not too like, I'm honestly probably not gonna get one of these just because I like the way mine already looks, and I would like to see a him drink a purple soda. I know it sounds silly.
Yeah,
If
it
you
does
guys
kind of sound silly, but like I get what you're saying, man.
Right, and then so something that me and Roy both have is something called Superlative Apes. Now, what makes this project so special is that the Superlative Apes are the first derivative project that, has had some serious success. So, if we look here, I mean, look at this. This is phenomenal, right? From the launch time, when it was at 0.09 to now, with the floor price being 0.7126, like, that's that's very good, and that's partly due to, the upcoming mutant, serum that just came out. So, on the Roy, do you remember what date it is? Is it the 22nd or the
Yeah, something
yeah,
like that.
something like
22nd,
that.
28th, or 29th.
Yeah, something like that. So they're going to be having for the first time ever, like they're going to be having it so that you can take your superlative ape and mutate him. Now, what that means is just like bored apes, you've seen the normal bored apes, and then you've seen them looking all wacky and like someone just dumped them in a tub of toxic stuff, you know? That's what's going to happen with these guys. So I'm excited to see what these are gonna look like when they're mutated because they're already pretty wacky looking colors. So that is an incentive for people to it will make them want to buy, and people who aren't even holding them are going to be like, oh, this is my chance to get in on one of these before the price flies up, like with these guys like point 0.5 ethereum. That's not cheap, that's just
Mhm.
not.
And
And
also, like, don't these get deleted if you mutate them?
right, so yes, so
So
you
that's gonna make these even more rare if you just even hold on to like them, because it's gonna be
exactly
less and less.
exactly but there's also a chance if you don't have a rare one, like I mean, I don't know, I'm not saying these ones aren't rare. I
Potentially, you could get a lesser one, have it drink like maybe a rainbow, and like
mhm.
have it transform into something like crazy, or a regular one. You never know what like the odds are. We haven't really, nobody's done this yet, so but
Right.
like taking a cheaper one and then like flipping it like that, having them drink something and then flipping it and then it being a mutant, you know,
Right.
could
And
offer
no
like good chances to flip.
yeah, and no shade to, like, this guy right here, but, like, not a big fan. Just not. I like the little art thing right there, little paintbrush, but,
Yeah.
like, this is one that I wouldn't if I was this person, why not give him the serum and just see what happens? Because it's it's just not one of the rarer ones, so he doesn't really have anything, or they don't have anything to worry about, you know what I mean? Like
But that even speaks to like the price down here, which is the price history, and we've seen that's been going up. Just
right.
in overall, like just like the floor price rising, represented by these guys, we're seeing like more demand flood in. These are good like things to have, and then like to make decisions upon it. It's like the next step, but like either way, these are we've seen a lot of demand out
Yeah, and if you don't want so there are 2 ways to get a mutant superlative ape, and, honestly, guys, I'm gonna be talking I just wanna kinda touch you up on the stuff that I've been doing lately. Uh, cryptos are in a volatile market, so I've been focusing a lot of my energy onto NFTs because that's where I've been seeing the money at, and more, versus, the crypto market right now where
there. You
it's
gotta follow the money. It's
you gotta
so
follow the
key.
money. Exactly. And just gonna add that to my watch list. Don't know why it wasn't already, but um, on the 22nd, you're gonna be able to. So if you already hold one of these, then you get a serum and you can mutate your ape, right? But if you aren't a holder of a superlative ape, then on the 22nd, that's the mint day. That's when you will be able to mint a mutant ape without a serum, without anything. It'll be a brand new ape, like brand new. It's not gonna be any of these that are mutated. It will be brand new. So that's your chance to get in on one of these, and I believe the mint price is 0.15, which is still, it's pricey, but like if you believe in the collection, then you know,
Might be worth hopping in.
right, it might be worth hopping in. I know I am. I got whitelisted, got very lucky.
Hell yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I'm excited, because I sold my original superlative ape just because I was holding on to it, and I found out that I was gonna be able to get a mutant ape on the 22nd, so I just said, "Screw it, I'm gonna sell this guy," and I was lucky, I got whitelisted, and so it worked out for the best, and I was able to flip that for profit and then buy some more NFTs, flip those for profit, and there's really an art to this. So there's a difference between investing in NFTs and then flipping NFTs. Now, with superlative apes, I would say these are more so of an investment,
Mhm.
but the offer that I got for mine was substantial enough to where I was like, okay, well, here's what I'll do. I will accept that offer because someone bid on it because I didn't even have it for sale, but I accept the offer make some profit. That way I'm taking profits, like we emphasize on here. Take profits and then find use the resources like Mobi. There's some other ones I'll put in the description below. There's some really good ones. And uh, you know, then I'll look at like trending NFTs or like upcoming mints. And then I'll go to their social medias, Twitter, Discord, etc. Just and look at how the community is, because that's something we emphasize too. Community is everything with these, especially with NFTs. Like, if they have a good community, then and you see that everyone's like, yeah, like, to the moon, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Like, then odds are, and there's no one like, hating within the collection. And a lot of the times, if you do see a hater, there's someone that's not holding one because
Hmm.
they either can't afford it, and that's fine. But like, don't hate because you can't, you know, hold one. Uh, but yeah, so there's a lot of exciting things coming up with this collection in particular. And then the next collection I would want to talk about just real quick is I'm a big fan. What I've realized, Roy and audience, is that I like derivative projects. I just do. I think they're cool. I think that they have a lot of potential to collaborate with other projects, um, because that's kind of the whole idea of them. And then, you know, so like I love Doodories and they're not expensive either. So example. And also like,
I am also a Doodory fan, and
yes, you
I
are.
do recommend it as well.
Roy is also a Doodorian, just
Big
like
derivative guys over here.
big derivative guys. And so this is like, obviously you can see zero point zero 0.09 down to zero point zero 0.04. That's okay. That's not the end of the world or anything. That's how these projects can be sometimes. But like here, it was lower than here. And it's just make sure if you do buy into one of these, any project, make sure you are in their Discord. I cannot emphasize enough how important that is to see updates, see how like, the developers, the mods are, interacting with the community, um, and whatnot. And just like, it's so important. And so something that is also cool to look at is who are the people that are the developers or the moderators of this project. And it just so happens that for the Doodories, uh, one of the head, I think it might be the head or one of the head people for it, is a part of this Twitter space called Rainbow Radio. And Rainbow Radio is a big Twitter space. Like, that's where like they will play music. They'll have people come on and they'll just perform, and like it's kind of like rug radio, if anyone's ever heard of that. That's like the biggest one of all. Speaking of that, rug radio, look at this. Rug radio came out with their own NFT, and it is doing very well, if I may say so myself. Let me find it. And pretty soon, you guys, there's gonna be a ROIS radio. Okay, so
Hmm.
just be on the lookout for that. uh, where you guys can just hop onto our Twitter space and interact with us, talk about, but don't bring any of that. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there it is.
I mean, geez, the floor price is 0.644 and it's literally
Dang.
rugs.
Wow.
So yeah, and this is all because of the personality, like the people behind the radio. Like, their personalities are what, really give that collection its value. And then the community that supports that radio, rug radio. So
Hmm.
just so many factors, guys. So many factors to look at. I'm not going to go on about NFTs. Do your own research, of course. Join Roy's Discord. One thing, real quick, in terms of, I guess, cryptos, is this. So this is called friction, and uh, it is, I'll just read it. Volt number one, generate income. So Volt number one focuses on income generation strategies, running automated cover call selling programs. Once deposited, funds are deployed into the current epoch. And what that means in layman's terms is the epoch lasts for about, I believe it's like 8 or 7 days. Yeah, 7 days. Um, and the vault becomes your active portfolio manager. It's automatically managing your portfolio of what you deposit. So if I deposit Solana into here, it will use its call selling or covered call selling programs or strategies that are automated to make sure that when the epoch is over, there's I haven't lost any of what I put in, but it will try to maximize the gains, obviously. Now, this is more risky right here, guys. These covered calls.
It's
Down
because you
here,
own you own the underlying asset under it as well, and so
exactly.
like you have to like account for like the change in like Solana or something like that or Bitcoin. So if that goes
Right.
down and this goes up, like you could potentially be losing money if like that falls, like the underlying crypto price falls more than
Hmm.
like this increases. So just be careful on that. But this is also something great where if you hold it, this is a way to like make money during the uncertainty
Right. And I would honestly, it's kind of like a long term,
time.
I would say, for certain ones, like when we come down to here, sustainable stables. So vault number 2 focuses on generating yield on stablecoin deposits. So the vault runs automated cash secured put programs. Similar to vault number 1, your deposits are auto compounded weekly. Option strikes and expires are algorithmically determined to maximize your returns and minimize the chance of an option being called or underlying asset assigned. Withdrawals can be preset and claimed once the withdrawal window opens, and that's at the end of the epoch, like we were saying before. Now, Roy, I feel like you could do a better job of explaining why are these more safe than the other ones.
Well, you're staking the USDC, which is a stablecoin, and for y'all that might not know as much about crypto, stablecoins like hover around $1, like they don't really increase or decrease, and so these keep you very safe within the game because that's gonna just be always around $1. So these returns are very much the return itself and not dependent on a price change from the underlying asset, which is going to stay around the $1 mark. So very, very much more stable in like the way of doing it.
Well said. Very well said. And that
Thanks.
is why we love Roy here on Roy's podcast. Because he
Thank
speaks
you.
well and he explains things well. Unlike me, I'm all over the place.
Hmm.
And so
We love you too, Johnny.
I'm like the crazy uncle, you know?
Everybody needs a crazy uncle. That's some fun though.
Right. And then this is another resource. Great. This is all within the Solana ecosystem, by the way, people. That's kind of what I've been in terms of crypto. Like I've been lingering around the Solana ecosystem because it's just a little safer right now. Uh, rather than venturing out into Avalanche, Tezos, Binance, freaking
Mm-hmm.
Luna, everything. Like it's just like chill out. Let's just stick to
Mm-hmm.
this, figure this out first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what this does, and why this is such a great, website, is that it finds the best like rate that you could get. So, say I wanted to just do some Wrap Soul for some Orca. We'll just do max. It literally routes out of all of the exchanges. So we're talking Radium, we're talking Orca, which Orca is like its own, um, you know, exchange. Other Solana NFT or Solana exchanges, and it finds the one that will give you the best like return. So like just for trading. So I'll receive. Say I want some serum. If I went with Radium, 90 oh, there we go. Okay, so but as you guys can see, this one gives me a little bit more, when I exchange it for that versus this one. So it finds the best, like, possible, you know, what's the word? Best possible outcome for me when I exchange it. It's little things that save you little amounts of money, but
Mm-hmm.
overall will, you know, really help you. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean,
Wow,
yeah, just a little
that
lesson.
that is great, and I think for what we've talked about here today, this has been like something of an overall strategy on what we should do during like uncertainty, especially when you think that like, looking at the major averages or major like cryptos, that there's like not ways to make money right now. There's tons of ways to make money. Just gotta keep your eyes open, and here on the podcast, we want to see you guys do as well as possible, share resources, talk ideas with you guys. And if you want to get more in depth with us, definitely be on the Discord. But like, keep your head up, keep on the grind, and maybe take from like what we talked about here today, check it out, and expand on like the resources themselves, right?
100%. 100%. Yeah, our Discord is very informative, people. Like, we are on there, we are interacting. You got questions, you don't know what to do with your money, you don't know if you should like be investing in something, or but it's too volatile, but you don't know. Just ask us. We don't
Yeah,
know,
and also
but
like the
we'll
people
figure
in
it
the
out.
community, themselves are also like, it's not just us. The people in the community themselves are also very intelligent people as well. So
Oh yeah.
you'll find like somebody that's like knowledgeable in there on whatever you're talking about. So just happy to have you guys in there, and we want to see you guys do as well as possible.
Yes, sir. So
I
anything else?
I think with that, like, that's been a real good wrap. I guess like that's kind of wrapping it up for me. I think it's been a really good show and segment upon like, with current market uncertainty, what we can keep our heads up and like eyes open to.
It's funny too because people that listen to our podcast, can probably just tell based off of the tones of our voices. Like sometimes, we're like, whoa, like we are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, the market is not, it's just not calling for that right now. So we're we're literally embodying how we're feeling.
Right.
Just kind of like mellow, let's see what's going on.
But that's
Make money over
important.
here.
That's important for like
It's
people to
very
know about,
important.
because I would hate for somebody to think like, oh, okay, well, this is a dip in the market, time to go
Right.
full all in. That's
Put
just
it all
not.
in, toss it all in.
Yeah.
Screw it. We're gonna
Back
make
to the
money.
TQQQ days.
Oh yeah, dude,
That
those were
was
the
the
Wild
mindset
West.
back. Yeah. Oh, I mean, like, I just remember the foot being on the gas pedal, just riding it in there. It's just like, yeah, fuck Mike Wilson, like
Oh
on a
my
motorcycle.
gosh, that was
Screw that guy.
phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, that was those times. But like,
When is Donnie T's social media
ooh,
coming out?
Feb 22nd.
Feb 22nd.
Wow, that's a
Okay,
big day for everything.
that is. That's a big. Feb 22nd is a huge day for everything, people.
Yeah, so keep your eyes open to that. Especially check out the company or the like spec that they released it under, which is under the ticker symbol DWAC.
Oh, also, check out the company called ALTA. We'll put a link. So that is my grandfather's company. They recently got the manufacturing rights to create these zero carbon emissions yachts and villas. They're solar powered. They are amazing. We'll put a link, uh, and they are the only ones that they were able to get it. So they're the only ones that are allowed to manufacture this in the United States right now.
And
Which
we'll
is
definitely be talking about that more in like the upcoming episodes as well.
right, because they go live this month. So on the stock
What an
market.
exciting time.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Heck yeah, I can't wait to like cover and dive in on them.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. We got a lot of things coming up, and we'll have the mutants by then. So
Sheesh. And I guess with that, this has been Roy's podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
thank you very much, guys. We appreciate it.